it's a question to do with the writer's strike and whether the WGA can make a deal with an individual studio. Check it out.
Hey, John, Hank from Buffalo. I had a question about the writer's strike. If, say, Warner Brothers were to come in and say, hey, we agree to your demands, and Universal, on the other hand, were like, hey, no, the WGA strike out against Universal while working for Warner Brothers. Can they do that?
All right. Thanks, Hank, for calling that in. This is a question I've heard a number of people have written in and called in about. I was like, okay, so the Writers Guild is going on, but talking about, say, the James Gunn stuff, like, could they just make a deal with Warner Brothers to make sure that the upcoming DC slate gets made? Could they just make a deal with Disney to make sure Daredevil gets back on track or stuff like that? Okay, so the short answer to that question is they could, but it would cost them dearly if they did. Okay, so here's the situation. We know that we have the Writers Guild, or WGA. We know we have the Directors Guild, the DGA. We have SAG, the Screen Actors Guild. We have IATSE, who represents a lot of the other professions and disciplines in the world of filmmaking. We have all those. But all those are on the one side. And on the other side, you have this Producers Association. That is the AMPTP. The AMPTV. I can't remember what it stands for. The American Motion Picture and Television Producers. I think that's what it stands for. Now, the reason they're able to make deals with individual unions is because the unions have the power of what's called collective bargaining. Now, I'm going to way oversimplify it here. So this is generally the idea, okay? But don't go to town on this. Collective bargaining basically gives a group the power to represent a larger body in matters of negotiating contracts and deals. Okay? So like, let's say Ray wanted a raise, right? He could come to me and talk to me about a raise for him, but that raise for him doesn't affect Jen, it doesn't affect Chris, and it doesn't affect Jonathan. However, if Ray and Jen and Chris and Jonathan wanted to form a union and they gave Ray the power of collective bargaining, that means they have given Ray the power to negotiate on all their behalfs, and they are bound to whatever deals Ray makes.
We get free McDonald's on Mondays.
What kind of barbecue you want later, John?
Yes. So now they would have to ratify. Ray would have to go back to them with a deal that he reached, and they would have to ratify and all that kind of stuff. But that's the power of collective bargaining. Instead of having to sit down with every single individual, you can do it as a collective, right? Well, while we all understand that the WGA, SAG, the DGA, they have collective bargaining within their unions, the studios themselves have formed this organization of the AMPTP to be the power of collective bargaining on their behalf. Now, this is the description, the way they write it up. It's like this. The AMPTP is the entertainment industry's official collective bargaining representative. AMPTP member companies include the major motion picture studios, including Paramount Pictures, Sony Pictures, Universal Pictures, Walt Disney Studios, and Warner Brothers. The principal broadcast television networks, including ABC, CBS, Fox, and NBC. Streaming services like Netflix, Apple TV, and Amazon. Certain cable television networks, and other independent film and television production companies. So, the AMPTP is basically all of these organizations come together and say, we've got this now body that we call the AMPTP, and they will act on all of our behalfs, making collective bargaining agreements with the unions who have their own collective bargaining power. So, what would happen then if, say, Universal, like he's suggesting, were to sneak around the back of McDonald's one night and meet up with the president of the WGA and say, tell you what, yeah. All the other guys, they want to give the writers, $400 million more, but I'll tell you what, us at Universal will give you $500 million more. So why don't you end the strike with us and you can keep striking against them, but you can work on Universal things, right? Here's what would happen. It would completely demolish any power that the AMPTP has. If one of those signatory member companies were to break away like that, Number one, they would not be able to benefit from any of the agreements the AMPTP does come to. They would immediately eject that studio out of their collective bargaining power. And then here's what would happen. All those other studios, Walt Disney, Warner Brothers, Paramount, Netflix, Apple TV, Amazon, NBC, CBS, they would all sue the shit out of Universal for doing it because they were in this thing together. They were relying on each other to agree and stay and behave by the terms of their collective bargaining. And if Universal goes around and stabs them in the back at that point, the other studios are going to sue the shit out of them. So yeah, maybe Universal could get one or two new projects done because they reached a secret agreement with the WGA, but it would eventually fall apart. Now, just to be clear, because Jonathan had the Universal logo up there,
Yeah,
to
we're not
be clear,
saying that.
I am making up a scenario. This isn't what's happening. It's a totally made up scenario. Universal has not gone behind the backs of their fellow AMPTP members. So anyway, I hope that answers. So generally speaking, for all intents and purposes, no, that's not something that can happen. The AMPTP and the Writers Guild themselves are going to have to come to an agreement as the collective bargaining powers of the two organizations. So hope that answers that. Guys, what do you think about that whole situation? Can you think of loopholes to that? Does it even matter? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. We want to thank a sponsor of this video, Mint Mobile. From the gas pump to the grocery store, your utility bills and favorite streaming services, inflation is everywhere. Seriously, make it stop. Thankfully, there's one company out there that's giving you a much needed break. It's Mint Mobile. As the first company to sell premium wireless service online only, Mint Mobile lets you order from home and save a ton with phone plans starting at just $15 a month. You guys know that ever since I switched to Mint Mobile, I've been saving almost 70% a month over my old phone plan. For people looking for extra savings this year, Mint Mobile offers premium wireless for just $15 a month. By going online only and eliminating the traditional cost of retail, Mint Mobile passes the significant savings on to you. All of their plans come with unlimited talk and text plus high-speed data delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and keep your same phone number along with all your existing contacts. Switch to Mint Mobile and get premium wireless service starting at just $15 a month. To get your new wireless plan for just $15 a month and get the plan shipped to your door for free, go to mintmobile.com/Campea. That's mintmobile.com/Campea. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/Campea.